Chapter 4. Realms of Silence, in Search of Lost, Jewish, Time. Some of the Berbers followed the Jewish religion, which they received from their powerful Israelite neighbors of Syria. Among the Jewish Berbers were the Jauyua, inhabitants of Oris, the tribe of Kahina, who were killed by Arabs in their early conquests. Ibn Khaldun, History of the Berbers, 1396. It is even possible that my ancestry might not move in the direction of ancient Israel at all. After 965, the Khazars were through as an organized power, but Judaism may have remained, and it may well be that many East European Jews are descended from Khazars and the people they ruled. I may be one of them. Who knows? And who cares? Isaac Asimov, It's Been a Good Life, 2002. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe compared architecture to music frozen in space. Can we compare historical Judaism since the 4th century CE to an immobile architectural structure, whose sounds have meekly turned inward for hundreds of years? The depiction of Judaism as a self-absorbed sect that turned its fervent faith into a Talmudic, casuistic colloquium suited the dominant Christian view that fixed the Jewish image in the Western world. While proto-Zionist and Zionist historiography disliked the demeaning element in this condescending view, it submitted to it unreservedly. The historiographers supported the imagery of the ethnic people as a drifting body that cannot live or function until it returns to its purported birthplace. In reality, before Judaism turned inward, chiefly due to the exclusionary walls built around it by Christianity, it continued its efforts at proselytization in the still virgin lands that had yet to experience the spread of monotheism. From the Arabian Peninsula to the lands of the Slavs, the Caucasus and the steppes between the Volga and the Don rivers, the areas around the destroyed and then rebuilt Carthage, the pre-Muslim Iberian Peninsula, Judaism continued to gain believers, thus securing its impressive presence in history. The cultures in the regions it reached were generally in a stage of transition from the phase of tribalism to that of organized state, and were all, of course, purely pagan. Other than Syria and Egypt, Arabia was one of the regions nearest to Judea, and so the influence of the Jewish religion reached it fairly early. The Arab kingdom of the Nabateans that bordered the kingdom of Judea disintegrated in 106 CE, not long after the fall of Jerusalem. Beyond it stretched the peninsula inhabited by nomadic Arab tribes and crossed by traders carrying goods from south to north. The oases on the main routes were also reached by Judean merchants, some of whom chose to settle in them. Along with their earthy goods, they brought the belief in a single God, and its spiritual offerings, an omnipotent universal creator and the resurrection of the dead, began to captivate followers of the various idolatrous sects. For example, a passage in the Mishnah states, all, the converts, from Rechem are pure, Rabbi Yehuda sees them as unclean, because they are erring proselytes, Tractate Niddah. Rechem was probably a settlement in southeastern Transjordan, whose conversion to Judaism did not seem convincing to Rabbi Yehuda bar Ilai. Jewish or Judaizing burial inscriptions have also been found in various parts of the northern Hejaz. Before the advent of Islam, in the era called in Arab historiography the Age of Ignorance in the 4th or early 5th century CE, Jews settled in Taima, Khaybar and Yathrib, later named Medina, in the heart of the Hejaz. Not long before the rise of Islam, Judaism began to make its way into the powerful tribes that inhabited these centers. The best known of these, because Muhammad clashed with them early in his campaign, were the Kainuka, the Karaitha, and the Nadhir in the region of Yathrib. But tribes in Taima and Khaybar, Arabic-speaking and bearing typical local names, had also converted to Judaism. The atmosphere among these Judaizers may be deduced from the late description by the Arab historian Abd Allah al-Bakri, who lived in the 11th century and wrote, concerning a tribe in Taima, that the tribesmen were prevented by the Jews from entering their fort as long as they professed another religion, and only when they embraced Judaism were they admitted. The spread of Jewish monotheism, which was not yet rabbinical, must have helped prepare the spiritual ground for the rise of Islam. Although the new religion clashed strongly with its precursor, the Quran testifies to the crucial role played by Judaism's ideological preparation. The Muslim holy book contains various phrases, stories and legends taken from the Old Testament and flavored with local imagination. From the Garden of Eden to the Shekinah, through the tales of Abraham, Joseph, and Moses, to the messages of David and Solomon, who are called prophets, echoes of the Old Testament are heard throughout the Quran, though it does not mention the great prophets like Jeremiah and Isaiah, and, of the later ones, only Zechariah and Jonah. Judaism was not the only religion that penetrated the Arabian Peninsula. Christianity also contended for believers, successfully in some places, though ultimately the Holy Trinity was not absorbed into the Muslim canon. Furthermore, in the territory between these two well-defined religions were some lively syncretic sects, such as the Hanafi, all of which contributed to the bubbling crucible from which the new monotheism sprang. The triumph of Islam in the early 7th century CE curtailed the spread of Judaism, and led to the gradual assimilation of the proselytized tribes. Moreover, the new religion forbade Muslims to convert to Judaism, and anyone who propagated such conversions was condemned to death. As noted in the previous chapter, the privileges granted to those who joined the religion of Muhammad were hard to resist. Yet prior to the rise of Muhammad, in the center of the Arabian Peninsula, Jewish preaching had led to the astonishing conversion of an entire kingdom in the south. Unlike the developments that took place in Yathrib or Khaybar, this mass conversion gave rise to a stable religious community that withstood the temporary gains of Christianity as well as the later triumph of Islam, and survived until modern times. In the early centuries of the Common Era, the population in the heart of the Hejaz was still tribal, but the region known today as the Yemen was developing a more coherent state organization, and it was searching for a centralizing religious belief.